Ian here. I just received my new FPV. I think it's the second version from Armattan. Being an absolute total new beginner, I had some first impressions of things that I just didn't even know what to expect when I received it. So I think I've been flying for a couple of months, kind of intermittently here and there, and I've broke a bunch of things and more or less used a bunch of cheap parts that I could, you know, from wherever I could find from Hobby King or Banggood. And about a month ago, I spoke to Chris and we worked on a project together, and then I got one of these. It literally just arrived today. I actually don't even have my batteries for it charged. They arrived today as well, but I flew it today with a 1300 milliamp LiPo I had laying around that I fly on my little 250s. But I wanted to offer up a couple first impressions for people that were interested or looking at maybe, you know, buying something as a beginner and what you could expect as a beginner. So first thing first, let me grab one of these. This is the little Hobby King 250 that I have here. So let me put that so we can take a look at it. So first things first is obviously it's significantly bigger than the little Hobby King flyer. Actually, everything about it is completely different. This Hobby King flyer, it's real. I think this is their FPV. I don't know what they call it. Their FPV 250 model, I think. More or less, this just feels really flimsy. You know, keep in mind this is I think the frame, and maybe with the long frame kit, and I've kind of modified it a bit just to hang my battery on the bottom. I think this is like it's under $15. So, but it definitely feels like it. Actually, I didn't even know. I didn't know it felt like it was a $15 frame until I felt a really good frame, which is the one I got in the mail today. So the first obvious difference is just the quality. Like, this feels like I can break this. I can take this and I could snap the arms off. With the FPV model, there's no way that I could do it. I mean, I'm not massively strong or anything, but I think I would probably hurt myself trying to break it. So I guess I see why he feels like he can offer the lifetime warranty with it. Just to sum it up, first impression compared to this, which is what I'm more or less used to, is that this feels flimsy. It just doesn't even feel like it should. It doesn't even compare, really. So I think a lot of the first-time people that would be looking at buying this would probably be in a similar boat. They've flown something kind of less expensive, maybe not for a long time, but they're looking to upgrade. So the best thing I can say is that it's a night and day difference. It doesn't even come close to comparing. So some of the things we can look at, let me set this over here and let me grab. So here's a piece of this is a little ZMR 250 frame that I have. Again, like I said, I'm more or less totally new to the hobby. I'm not real experienced. I haven't spent a lot of time. I actually just had some spare money laying around in PayPal that I just needed to use. So that's why I have a nice little collection of parts here. But so let's compare it to maybe like the next step up. The next step up from the Hobby King, their little 250 kit that they offer for maybe 110 bucks, I think. And that comes with motors and a flight control. I think it comes with a flight controller. It comes with motors, ESCs, the frame, and I think most everything you need. This would probably be what I might consider the next step up. You can get these from Banggood or just the eBay or Amazon, and I think they're in like the $35 range. But I don't know let me find my dial calipers here. I don't know the thickness of this frame. It feels pretty rigid. It's about 1/10 of an inch, so it's probably like 2 millimeter. I guess that's probably a 2 millimeter piece of carbon. This is the real carbon version. I know there's some versions out there that are glass-filled carbon. This one appears to me to be real carbon fiber. This one feels more rigid. It feels definitely more rigid than the Hobby King model. Actually, I haven't flown this. It's just sitting here. I'll probably assemble it tonight. So that's something to keep in mind. Is I think the durability of this model is much much greater. If we come here and I want to measure, like, let's say the thickness of the arms, I suspect those are 3 or 4 millimeter. I don't even know. So almost 2/10 of an inch. So 4 or 5 millimeter, maybe. I mean, it's 4 or 5, one of those two. It's very rigid. It feels really strong. It just feels real sturdy. The other thing I noticed initially, to keep in mind, especially if you fly in maybe urban areas or a neighborhood. I know my neighbors, all of my neighbors are significantly older than my wife and I. We're in our mid-30s. The 250s are loud. This is extremely quiet. It made no noise. All I did, put the props on it, stuck my little receiver on it down here, took it outside. It's quiet. So that was pretty interesting. It's got a ton of power. I only flew it for a minute or two because I had a small battery on it and didn't want to crash it. It seems to be much more forgiving than the 250s. It's easier to fly, easier to control. I'm very hesitant to go out and try to punch it and see what happens, but I'm really, really thoroughly impressed. The other cool thing I noticed, and I'm sure this is going to look stupid when I start doing this here, but this frame seems to be really thought out. So I got a collection of some parts here. I'm just going to rest that on there. But there's all sorts of holes and places to mount stuff. It just seems really well thought out. I'll put some FPV gear on it sooner or later. I've got it. I just would probably prefer just to fly it around and have fun before I start tinkering with it. But yeah, so overall first impression, I think 2 major things that you can expect coming from, you know, maybe one of the entry level or the lower, the less expensive frames is, one, this is heavy. It feels durable. It feels strong. It feels like you'd have a very hard time breaking it. It appears to be really well thought out. Everything has a place, and everything looks like, I mean, the quality looks very good. Just visual inspection. It looks like they've put a lot of time. There's a lot of, I assume these are silicone, the little silicone gimbal mounts here to try to, or isolation mounts here. Everything, it's really, really nice. It looks like it's really well thought out. I just can't say enough about it at this point. So first impression, real sturdy, very strong. Second impression, much quieter than I thought, having never flown anything bigger than my 250s. I've got a Blade, a Nano QX. I've got one of these here that I started flying, and I think this little thing might actually be louder. So that's probably just a function of the faster propellers and just the fact that they're spinning faster. So anyway, just wanted to offer up that first impression for anybody who might be interested or on the fence and trying to decide what model they want to get next. Like I said, I've flown this for 2 or 3 minutes. It flew very, very well. I did have to look up how to arm a multi-Wii, which I wasn't familiar with because I've never used one. My other controllers are CC3D, and I have a one of the Hobby King KK version 215. But anyway, wanted to offer that up. If anybody has questions, I'm happy to try to answer them, especially from a beginner's perspective, because that's exactly what I am. So talk to you later.